Hey, what's going on, guys? Let's try this problem right here. Here what we are going to do is we are going to use mesh analysis method to find out mesh currents and branch currents, right? Now in order to do this one, we have to follow all these steps. First step is we have to assign currents for each branch, and if you notice, we don't have current in any branch, so we have to put currents in every branch, right? So if we begin right here, let's put I1, right? I1 goes by this, and we need I2, right? I2, let's put I2 right here, and also this one doesn't have current, so let's put I3. So this is our branch currents, right? Now then assign the mesh currents for each branch, each mesh. The mesh mean the loop, right? So here we are going to put mesh currents to this one, so this is going to be I1, and this is going to be I2, right? So now we have two mesh currents, and the third one is apply the Kirchhoff's voltage law to obtain equations. Now Kirchhoff voltage law equation is sum of voltage is going to be always zero. So if we add all the voltages, it's going to be zero in each of these meshes. Now let's start with mesh 1. So here if I take mesh 1, and we know that sum of voltage has to be 0. So let's begin right here. So here we have this current I1 going from, so this is a clockwise direction, if you imagine like that. So this is going to go from negative to positive. So if the current goes from negative to positive, and here I have to put the voltage, this is actually, okay, here I have to put a voltage, let's put 15 voltage. Okay, so if it's go from negative to positive, this is going to be positive 15. So we are going to have positive 15 in our equation. And then if it flows along the current, right, if you see the current's direction is along this one, so if it's along this one, that's going to be minus. So this is going to be, and we know that V is equal to IR, right? So this is going to be 5I1. And again in this one, this I1 goes in this direction, right? So here we have 10 ohm, and this I1 goes along the current's path, and I2 goes opposite to this. So I2 should be plus, because it's going opposite to this path, because it's clockwise in this one, right, in this loop. So let's, for imagination, let's put this on. So I1 is going to, so I1 is coming down, I1 is flowing along this current, I2 is going opposite of this current. So if it goes opposite, it's going to be plus. If it goes along, that's going to be negative. So we have to multiply both of them by 10, right? So if you put negative 10 right here, here we know that I1 is going to be negative, right? So we just put I1 because we already have a negative right here. So if you put I1, that's mean negative I1. And here we have to put negative I2 because negative negative, that will make this one positive. So this is going to be I1 minus I2, and this current flowing, so if you notice, this is going clockwise and this is going to go through plus minus, plus to minus, right? So if it goes plus to minus, this is going to be a negative 10 volt. So that's equal to 0. So that's going to be the first equation, mesh equation, Kirchhoff's voltage equation for the first mesh. Now let's look at this one, second one. Second one, again, this summation of voltage must be equal to 0, right? Now let's start from here. So for this one, this current is going from negative to positive, so this is going to be a plus 10, right? And again this I2 going this direction, so here I2 is following along this path, so this is going to be negative I2, and this I1 is going opposite to this path, So this is going to be a positive I1, right? So again, this is going to, if you put negative 10 right here, now we are going to have I2 first, because I2 has to be negative. Here we already have the negative right here, so this is going to be negative I2, and we had to have a positive I1, so we had to put minus I1 right here, and that will make this one positive I1, because minus minus, that will make this one positive, right? And if you notice here, the current direction is along this path, so this is going to be negative, right? Negative path, and that's going to be negative 6 I1, right? And that's it. And this current, this branch currents, you can put any direction, it doesn't matter, because if you solve for the, like finally when we solve, if we got the wrong direction, it means it's going to give the answer in negative, right? So it's always give the correct answer, because negative mean opposite direction. Now we have these two Kirchhoff's voltage equation, and that's it. Now we have, all we have to do is simplify this one. So here we are going to have 15 minus 5i1 minus 10i1 plus 10i2 minus 10 equal to 0. I'm simplifying the first equation. So let's add them together. So here we are going to have minus 15 I1 plus 10 I2, and if I bring the numbers to the other side, this 10 is going to become plus 10, and this is going to be minus 15. Plus 10 minus 15, that's going to make this one minus 5, right? Let's solve the second one. Second one, we have 10 minus 10 I2, and then we have 10 times minus 10 times minus, that's going to become plus 10 I1 minus 6 I1, that's equal to 0. And let's simplify. Here we have minus, this is going to become minus, actually plus 4 I1 plus 4 I1, and then we have 10 I2, right? Minus 10 I2, that's equal to minus 10. Okay, it's look like there's a mistake. Let's check. First one is negative 15 I1 10 I2 minus 5, that's correct. Second one, okay, 10 minus 10 I2, this plus 10 I1, and this is minus 6 I1. Oh, in the second mesh I forgot to put one thing, that is this 4 I2, right? I didn't put that one. Okay, so since this current is moving along this direction, this is also going to be a negative 4, because we know that this is passing through this, and along this path that's going to be a 4 I2 right here, right? 4 I2, and this is also 6 I2, because we don't have I1 right here. I1 only comes here, so this is 6 I2, 6, so that's going to change everything. Let's do this one again. So this is, whole thing is going to be equal to 0, right? Now let's simplify. So this is going to be 10 minus 10 I2 plus 10 I1, and then we are going to have minus 10 I2 again equal to 0. So this is going to be 10 I1 minus 20 I2 is equal to minus 10. Okay, now it's correct. So we have two equations, one equation, two equation. And first equation, you can see that we can simplify in basic terms, like we can divide everything by 5. So if you divide everything by 5, that's going to give us minus 3 I1 plus 2i2 is equal to minus 1, right? And here also we can divide everything by 10. That's going to give us i1 minus 2i2, and this is going to be equal to minus 1, right? So this is, we can simply solve this one by adding them together. Like if you add them together, this is going to give us 0, and this is going to become minus 2i1, and this is going to become minus 2, right? So we know that minus 2i1 is equal to minus 2, therefore i1 is equal to 1 ampere. So the first mesh current is going to be 1 ampere. Now we can use this one to find out the other one, and let's take this equation i1 is equal to minus 2i2 equal to minus i1. So i1 minus 2i2 is equal to minus i1 and minus 1, and here I'm going to plug this one right here. So if I plug 1, this is going to be minus 2i2 minus 1, therefore this is minus 1, right? So this is going to be 2i2 is going to be equal to 2, therefore i2 is also going to be equal to 1 ampere. So i1 is also 1 ampere, i2 is also 1 ampere. So we know that we have found out these two mesh currents, both of them are 1 ampere. Now if you want to find branch currents, and if you see here, i1 is the only branch current that's passing through, right? So this is equal to this one, so small i1 is going to be equal to 1 ampere. And also if you notice, in this branch only i2 is passing through this one, so the i2 is going to be equal to 1 ampere. And this one i3, in i3 we have i2 going in this direction, i1 is going in this direction. So if I take along i3's path, i1 is going along the i3, right? So this is going to be 1 positive, and i2 is going opposite of this i3, that's going to be minus 1, that's going to make this one 0. So i1 is going to be 1 ampere, i2 is going to be 1 ampere, i3 is going to be 0, and those are going to be our answers. I hope you guys find this video helpful. See you next time.